you have to put yourself in a position where you can create less stress for yourself rather than every time somebody says, can you do this by tomorrow? Can you code this by tomorrow? Can you give me? Then every time is like, oh no, I can't do it. And I have to start from scratch. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times when somebody would give me a problem saying, I need couple of weeks.
Can you also give us, from your observation or from reading the book or from any other angle, a real life example of a company that you have seen follow the sprint process and create a successful product?
Yeah, companies, they do that. Some of the bigger companies, unfortunately, don't. But I'll give you an example. We have often heard of hackathon happening in Las Vegas, where a bunch of hackers or folks who are good with breaking software, they are brought together and then they're working on it. This is 1 week long. Just imagine people are put together, they're collaborating, they're thinking or solving a single problem. There's single focus, right? There is no distraction. You focus on one thing, you solve and provide the problem. The same situation where they would have asked saying, can you break my operating system or some tool? It'll probably take somebody months to do that. But then when you bring those divergent thinking people together, ideas start to flow. You divide and conquer, you implement, you make a decision how you're going to go about it. Another good example is the way there's a maker community. I'm pretty plugged into the maker community in Portland area, where you go there and folks have been making R2D2s and things like that. So I see a lot of examples over there. In the larger, I would say, corporations, they have their own processes. So a lot of times you follow that. But even within those processes, there are sub-processes like in product planning or design thinking. How do you quickly iterate and improve the new interfaces, user interfaces, or making new products? Marketing strategies, quite often we create a strategy and then it's gone for it's set in stone for the next 3 years. Strategy is all about adapting to the changes in the market. So marketing strategy is I feel one of the best examples in which we should be doing all of these kind of things, like test strategies, campaigns, even before full scale launch. We do that with our web pages. We do that with some other things, but there are a lot of other things you can do it. Again, business strategy, say presentations, whenever you have to do a presentation, just give yourself a little bit of time. It will, in the beginning, when you adopt this process, it used to take me longer. I would say I will do it in 2 weeks' time. It'll take me 3 or 4 weeks. But folks were patient with me. They trusted my instincts. Find that balance of, maybe if you need a week's time, think about saying I would need about 1.5 or 2 weeks in the beginning. Because by the time you are well versed with this system, that 1 week that you originally thought you will need, it'll be like, I can do it in 2 days, right? So you have to get to that level of, and that's where there is no stress, right? Because something needs to be done tomorrow, and you can say, I can do it in the next 20 minutes. I have all the material, or I have 90% or 80% of the material. I can put it together and give you something. Presentations are one of the most useful areas to actually do that. What we do, daily work, create copies somewhere, have those. I'll give you a great example, which I used to use in my past company. I would have about 15, 20 presentations, smaller presentations that I would make. And I would go visit customers in Japan or Germany, automotive customers. And I would ask my sales team members, could you make sure that in the first 5 minutes after introductions, you start to talk about what is that the customer needs? What does he wants to hear from me? Is he going to talk about topic A, topic B, topic C, and D, and so on? And as the sales team managers would be talking to them, I would be pulling those presentations saying, okay, they need product A, product C, they need E. Okay, they want to talk about F and G also. I will ignore B and and D, because they said they don't want to talk about it. And right then and there, I would create a presentation in a new folder and I would just present that. And I have not done it once or twice, but hundreds of times with my customers, is where I always ask my sales team colleagues saying, just talk to them for about 5 minutes. That's all I need to understand what are the What are their expectations out of that? So I think you have to put yourself in a position where you can create less stress for yourself, rather than every time somebody says, can you do this by tomorrow, can you code this by tomorrow, can you give me, then every time is like, oh no, I can't do it, and I have to start from scratch. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times when somebody would give me a problem saying, I need a couple of weeks for it. But you have to get to that level of and by the way, this sprint book helps you do that.
I see. Let me paraphrase so I make sure that I understand, and hopefully through that process we make sure the viewers and listeners also understand. It seems to me that through the sprint process, especially the first two or even the first one, you create all these threads and you're bringing all of these interdependencies and connections together. It forms the foundation. So when it is game time and you need to customize based on your customers' needs or your stakeholders' needs, your peer, your manager, whoever that might be, then you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from the 30-meter mark of a 100-meter dash.
Exactly.
And you have a leg up. So it seems like you've done the foundational work that's a common denominator, and then you're able to piece the remaining puzzle together. So this allows you to do that. So it seems like a systematic way to always be ready, and hence you don't feel the pressure. Am I bringing this together?
Yes, absolutely. You use the word foundation. That's perfect. That's the right word, actually. Once you have that foundation, you're operating from a higher platform and not always the squares one, right? So, and that's the perfect analogy there.
Okay, and it seems like since you have been doing this repeatedly so many years, consistently with all your stakeholders, you just get better at it and you get even faster at it.
Exactly.
It's not a secret. It's you put in the hard work at the start, you kept consistently applying it, and here you are today. Is that fair?
Yes. And as I said, every time I have missed anything or I have tried to do that, I can give you multiple examples. There's always been an error or a problem in that solution that I would say 100% failure every time I've missed anything.
Wonderful. I think this has been phenomenal. We talked about the benefits at the start. We talked about the status quo, about the pressures of delivering revenue. This definitely feeds those components, goals, direction that feeds the North Star, which is driving revenue. So thank you so much for that and driving into details about the 5-step process, how you have used it, examples. So you've covered. How would you summarize today's talk?
I would say, this is, first of all, this has been a great experience. So, I think we often come across strategies, often come across tools that we always feel that they don't apply to our line of work. But I think for me, I always try to find how is this a good process for me to adopt into it. And in summary, I think sprint is one of the methodologies that I use to be able to work from start to finish of what I'm required to do. And over the years, as you said, I have gotten better at it. If somebody's asks me to put together something, I can do it relatively quickly. And that's just because I have built a library of information, whether it's in my mind or whether it's on my PC somewhere where I can do that. So I would encourage folks to take a look at this book or find some summary of the book somewhere. It's a very simple thing. There is a mind map, there is a blueprint creation, there's a decision matrix. And then once you build, take some notes, what you can and cannot do. And then at the end, get feedback and improve the overall process, because next time around, this will be a very quick automated process for you.
Very cool. Thank you so much, JP. And we always end our podcast in a fun, energetic way. So are you excited to have some fun and then end the podcast? Is that cool?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the show Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
Wonderful. So what I'm going to do right now is give you a sentence or a phrase from the TV show. I'm going to go through one at a time. There are 13 of them. What I would like you to do is, first thing that comes to your mind, a word or a counter phrase or something to catches your attention and you want to share, just respond. The first thing that you want to respond.
Okay.
Sounds good? Sounds fair?
Yes. Yeah.
Alrighty. Cool. Let's get started. So the first thing, be sincere.
There's nothing else to add. Be open, honest, sincere. Yeah.
All right. Stay teachable.
Always be in the learning phase.
Alrighty. See good in others.
Again, I say it differently. See the glass. Build a aptitude to see glass half full always.
All right. Happiness is a choice.
It's a state of mind.
Winning is an attitude.
I would agree with that. Yes, again, nothing else to add.
Having confidence in yourself.
Comes with building expertise and knowledge.
Okay. Optimists take more chances.
100%, be an optimist.
Okay. Everyone differs from everyone else.
Yeah, we talked about it. Divergent ideas.
Okay. Courage is the willingness to attempt.
I always tell people, be courageous, never be afraid. You are going to fail only yourself and nobody else.
I've come across this other one. Fearless is actually fearless.
Okay, that's good.
Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness.
Agree with that also. Yes.
Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing.
Absolutely. I 100% align with this, is that you have to do the right thing irrespective of where it takes you.
Mm-hmm.
And it always will take you to the right place. Doing the right thing will take you to the right place.
Love that. We have two more.
Okay.
Be a goldfish.
Yeah, I have that was that was the first time I heard in that too. Yes, don't sweat or spilled beans.
Right. It's like, for context, for people who haven't seen the show, it talks about how a goldfish has a memory span of 10 seconds. So if you didn't score the goal, you acted clumsy, be a goldfish, forget it and move on. Because no one else remembers, technically. The last one is my favorite.
Okay.
Be curious, not judgmental.
Yes. Yeah. I always we talked about in the learning phase, always give the benefit of doubt to listen to the other person, what their perspective is. If you ask a question, you are ignorant for only for 5 minutes. If you don't ask the question, you're ignorant forever, right? So ask questions, see their perspective, understand that. It'll also make you less judgmental. It's again, practice gets to you to change those things. So practice asking questions. Suraj will tell you, practice asking open questions. So
Indeed. We have 7 types of questions. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, JP. I hope you had a great time, because I did. And I'm sure our viewers also had a great time. Love to have you back on board. Maybe it's going to be the art of asking questions. And we'd love to get your perspective on things. This has been a great time spent. Thank you so very much.
Likewise. Thank you for the invitation. I enjoyed it very much.
Wonderful. And for folks online, if you're watching this live or going to join us later in the recording, either on LinkedIn or other platforms like YouTube, thank you. Wishing you great success and joy.